Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I give you the traveling minstrel, the mystic, the actor, screenwriter, and puppet maker, Mr. Willy Tea Taylor.
Yo, what up, Jamal?
Hey, buddy. How you been?
I've been pretty good, man. I've enjoyed a massive chill session.
Good.
Yeah, why challenging myself with new things? Like I've learned a lot of new things that are part of my dreams and hopes. So like filming and editing and green screening and all the shit that is pretty fun.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
the other day when I talked to you, you did mention a puppet that you were
a
puppet. So tell us about that.
Well, my friend Nathan Moore, I've been on this puppet thing for a while. I made one, and then I kind of slipped off of it. I moved, and so it's kind of like, and then I just traveled all the time, so I never really got back into it. And then Nathan Moore is having a contest this Sunday. He's gonna view all the videos, and it's the best puppet video. His viewer, like people can send in, and so when I have a deadline and a task, I run pretty hot. So I'm running hot on some badass puppets right now.
Awesome.
It's kind of
Fun.
it's basically I'm making a trailer for what's to come from the characters I'm building, and it's kind of a tale. It's a tale of enlightenment. I'm trying to in this world of all uncertainty and weird information that that it seems like the only two things we really have are the only is enlightenment through
Amen.
So I'm taking a twist on all the weird shit I've ever learned, and having people. I haven't started writing the full, but it's going to be called the 7 Mindfucks of Don Quixote. And he's like a mystic, a desert mystic named Don Quixote. It's kind of like Carlos Castaneda meets Buddhism meets drunken philosophers and lots of hallucinogenics. And this kind of square guy, not square, he kind of just lost his shit, became kind of a pissed off person, and he never really was. And so he knew that he had to find some answers in life. So he kind of just ghosted and took off on his motorcycle, and he ended up in the desert in Arizona, and he runs into Don Quixote. And then that begins the 7 Mindfucks of Don Quixote, which brings this guy into enlightenment.
Right on.
So it's fun to think about, and it's on biblical proportions. It's like everything, religion. So it's kind of, there's a lot of material out there for enlightenment. And with a green screen and puppets, like I've never did anything like this, but I'm finding that it's like I have or something. Like it's one of those things you do that you're like, oh shit, I can whip out a pretty shitty puppet real fast. So that's not shitty, if that makes sense. It's like I'm not like going by the rules. I'm just kind of going how I think a puppet would be made, and they're turning out pretty sweet. Yeah.
Awesome.
You want to see one?
Yeah, I would love to.
All right, hold on a second.
Okay.
I'll bring you what I've got so far.
Awesome. Okay, you got it.
Now you can. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that, folks. But he actually wears this hat. But like, this is Don Quixote. Yeah, baby.
Is that?
And he's got movable limbs. Like, it's got joints in here, so he'll be a rod puppet, and on a green screen, his knees move, and he'll have a whole mystical kind of look to him.
Yeah, probably pretty
he writes.
sweet threads, right?
Oh yeah, and I mean, it's so endless what you can do. I mean, it's perfect for me. I just sit and dream about shit like this all day, and now it's just to have the time to actually execute it is pretty radical.
Yeah, I feel the same way about this that I'm doing now.
Yeah,
it's like having the time to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. You look good doing this. I think this is your future and present. Your present and future.
All of the above. Yeah, it's given me time to reflect on what I really want.
Yeah, you're really great at talking. You've always been great at talking with people, traveling on the road with you, and like you have a great presence. I think it's fun to talk with you. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to have you. So, have you been writing some music as well with this downtime?
No, I actually not at all. Like, kind of the whole live shows, like, I kind of did it. People wanted me to do, and I learned how to do it. That was kind of I don't know shit about any of this, but now I know quite a bit about a lot of things, which is neat. But it's not really the reason I play music, you know. Like I like recording. I mean, I like making a record and stuff, but that's not. I like to travel around and be live and meet people and talk with them, and that's where music is the gift to me. So it's kind of, and you know, I got a household full of kids and people, and it's not really how I write music is more when I'm alone and secret. But so that's where I just got into puppet making, I think, and this might become something big for me that I
hope so.
Like, and I could stay home more. And then if music opens up again, I like the live show. I like talking with people. So maybe we'll do that again.
Yeah.
I get some offers sometimes. I think a lot of people are drunk. I realize they write me at like 2 a.m. or something. and they're like, we'll give you $2,000 if you just come play at my farm. And I'm like, shit, I'll be at your farm tomorrow, homie. And then I never hear from someone. Like, oh, that was a good drunken thought.
Yeah, I think I've had those before too. A little bit too good to be true.
Yeah. So, yeah, and Erica just got a really neat job managing a bar on a lake. So Mama going to bring home the bacon. So I get to hopefully I finally married up.
Yeah, that's the dream, right?
Oh yeah, you know it.
Oh, well, that's good. Awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah.
On Erica's new job.
Yeah, thank you. We're all real excited.
And the puppets. Yeah, that makes sense. Building puppets, that seems like more of a kid-friendly thing that you could do with a household full of kids and people around, rather than, you know, hunker down and make an album or something.
Yeah, even if they have dick and balls. Yeah, I'm not really making a kids puppet show, I don't believe, but
well, you know.
But you know,
you go either way, you know. I mean, you could too, because you've done children's songs and stories.
Oh, absolutely.
So
and I think, like, with this happening and me kind of just realizing, like, man, I'm always away from my family and my kids, and this has been super beautiful. And then I things that I miss, like coaching and being an after school teacher. Like I was part of that, and now I can take these like filmmaking and puppets and music and stay home and teach kids, you know. Like I watched Conrad's movie. Did you watch that, When It Breaks documentary?
I haven't seen it yet. No.
It's absolutely moving, man. Like it moved the shit out of me, and it's very beautifully done and very inspiring. It gave me a new sense of purpose that I used to have, you know, that, yeah, teaching the kids, man, taking care of, spitting the knowledge.
That is very important.
Them. Yeah.
I saw like a snippet of it on his Instagram, and it looked really interesting.
It's really great, man. Todd, too, he did a great job at making that movie. They all did.
Who else was involved in making it?
It was just him and his family and this guy, Todd, who was the filmmaker, and it's really great. And it brings out, you know, what's super important in life is taking care of serving, you know. And I know music is a neat avenue, and I've had many such blessings and where my songs have reached people, and I know that that's part of, you know, being of service to people also, and I know the importance of it.
Certainly.
But you do get, when you're out for, you know, a month and a half, and you kind of forget, like, whoa, who am I again? Like, you know, like what is this? Like, why is this? And
yeah,
you know, things like that, you know, all that.
Yeah, for sure. I think that, you know, for me, that feeling of just kind of floating and not knowing, that lasted for me for a couple of years. Well, a few years, you know, and to reground now is a very important step for me, you know, and to also do this where I reconnect with my friends.
You're right.
Important.
It is very important. And yeah, and to really know the intention behind what we do and everything we do is where that could get, especially, you know, just drinking, like when I drink, you know, and you just forget what you're doing sometimes, and it's kind of like, oh man, whoa, I'm not being very thankful, one, for the blessing I have in this job to travel around, and I'm not really giving it all that I have. So it's, you know, I've had a lot of reflection in the last year on that, and waking up and being thankful and being present when in the things I do.
Yeah.
And Good. Not to be a douchebag, which, you know, it's true. Like, you just, all of a sudden you're just like, who the fuck am I? Like, this is crazy. I'm definitely a douche. Like, I douched it up. Time to, you know, get the douche out.
Yeah. Yeah. We're not about that. No more douchery.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're about, you know, we're all about learning and loving, and when you don't give yourself a chance to, you know, make the changes, and you become something that you didn't set out to be. Like, yeah, you know, it's up to us to pull on the reins and be like, wait, no, what is it that I am, and who am I, and why am I so pissed off these days? You know, it's like, I'm not a pissed off person. Like, and it's just kind of, and just to have that realization and ask that question brought me into a mindset of way more patience and presence, and like, oh, okay, like what am I anxious about? Like, it's an anxiety, I think, is where, and then I drink, and then it's like, whoa, what is it? What is it you asked for? Because are you getting in your own way of it, or, which I think is what happens, you know, and ask and you shall receive.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of your way kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit last time we were
Yeah.
actually hanging out.
That's true.
That wasn't too long ago, really. In the grand
That
scheme
wasn't.
of things, it seems like a long time ago. A lot has happened since then.
Yeah. It's crazy.
The world changed since I saw you.
Instantly. And it's been such a interesting ride on just our own petri dish in our house of emotions and crazy shit. Is like, whoa, this is like we're in the real world. MTV year one. I'm trying to like the first reality TV. It's like our own reality TV shows now in some weird house.
Oh yeah.
Who's gonna lose their shit today?
Right. Yeah. Oh man, I know, because I'm pretty new to this stuff, really, as far as streaming and recording and doing all this, navigating Zoom and everything. And so I looked into Twitch. Have you heard of Twitch?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Now there's a lot of music on there as well, but it's mostly video games. So it's
I did something through Twitch. Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
How was it?
I don't know. I mean, it seemed all right.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at, when I first got on there and got the app, it's just like a couple of guys playing a video game and then like thousands of people watching them play
right.
video game.
It's so I had no idea what's going on in that world, dude.
Yeah. And then also just
that enlightened me.
Yeah, just people cooking dinner. Like a couple just like standing there cooking dinner.
I watched a girl. When I first got on it, she's attractive, but she for 3 hours was just in her kitchen with her dog. And I realized I was watching her for 15 minutes, and so was like 60,000 people. Like we're watching her do, and like we're just hanging in her kitchen, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on here? Like, this is mind-boggling." That's not. I don't know. That's still not me. I don't know about that.
I accidentally stumbled across a dude sleeping. His stream was he was just sawing logs, man. Totally asleep, and apparently his stream had been going for like 45 hours. So he was just like in the middle of sleep, and I was just watching a dude sleep. And I felt so weird. Like this is the bright, brand new, like glorious future that we've all worked so hard to achieve.
Yeah, it's straight up Ed TV, dude.
Yeah.
That McConaughey movie back in the day. Or is that a Ron Howard film? I think it is a Ron
I think so, yeah. That blew my mind. I was like, okay, we've now devolved so far down that we're just watching a dude sleep. And I think there was a lot of people watching that stream. And to some extent, I kind of get part of it. Like if you're so lonely and you're by yourself, isolating, and you're like, you just want to hang out with people, and they're cooking dinner, and you're like, just feel like
man, absolutely. There's definitely some lonely folks out there, That's for sure.
Yeah. But
and that, thank God they have something that interests them like that, and they, that's
absolutely
keeps them. Yeah. Who knows?
God bless that sleeping guy. I mean, maybe he's helping people out somehow. I don't know.
Like, or like, is that like at least 40,000 like 12-year-old kids just jerking off watching this lady cook food with her dog? Like, I mean, what's happening here? Yeah,
maybe.
Is this what these kids are fucking? They're just watching ladies cook. I mean, I would have shit.
Yeah, it's a totally different world, man.
It's bizarre.
Oh my god. So, can you think of like maybe a tour story that pops out, like a glorious moment from tour or from the road that kind of stands out when I say that? Something come into your head.
Oh man.
And there's a lot in there.
And the thing I love about it, which is kind of the the double-edged sword is that like we were living in the moment, like that I don't remember. Like I don't like, and I genuinely know that my joy levels were off the charts so many times, and the connections and just the late night drunken talks that I have no recollection of, but they were real. They were present and they were real, and they were being in the moment. And I might not even remember that, and which happens all the time. Like I'll come back through and they'll be like, "Hey man, remember you married my sister that night?" And I'm like, "What? Fuck, dude, I'm sorry, I don't remember you." Like I don't, like, I know it was real though. Like
It happens.
that makes sense. Like it's pure, because there's nothing to. And then I come home and it resets, you know, and it's like, oh, okay, now I'm present here. And then like the world of creating and manifestation, like what's my next moves? Like, what do I want to do? What are people asking me to do? And then you take that and then you live in the moment of that. Mm-hmm. And then you just keep going. Like so many, man. I don't know.
Let me ask you this. Do you remember, it's because one that stands out for me is when we played with Dropkick Murphys and you flew out and you
that was fun.
Sang your song with us. And
I still get to say, oh yeah, I played with Dropkick Murphys on St. Patty's Day, Boston, House of Blues. No big deal.
No big deal. And we toured the ball field too, next door.
Yeah.
So
yeah. The only time I've been to Fenway. And that was a fun one. Florida, like all that. That was like that was a while. Like I think we crushed like 20 something states. Like I've played in all 50 states except the one we didn't really, I think I just sang in a song, is when we were in Mississippi and we kind of got ran out of that gas station where they wouldn't serve us because we took the back roads. Like you're like, I want to take the back roads through Mississippi. I remember that. And we wake up at a gas station and I go inside and yeah, we weren't the kind of folk they wanted at this gas station. And then the local Andy Griffith dude, mean Andy Griffith, shows up. And then we get gas and then he like follows us out of town, you know, and then we're like, holy shit, that's still really the only Mississippi. But every other state I've played pretty much in. And we hit most of them on that tour. That was crazy.
Yeah, that's why I love doing these talks, is because you remember things about it that I don't remember. Like I don't remember that, but that's also partially because that's not the only time that Larry and got chased out of town.
No, there's a few more on that tour too.
Yeah, there was multiple times where my brother was just being a really laid back hippie about it, and whoever was just not having it, man. Just
and it was still a time where beards weren't back in yet.
We brought them back. It was painful. It was tough.
Yeah. Slaves to fashion us.
Yeah, right.
We knew we had to bring the beard back.
We had to. It was our duty to the planet. And now cops have beards and tattoos.
Yeah, it's good. It's nice. Yeah, they did I read a theory, or like they did a study on, there was like 40 people or 40 dudes, and then like one had a beard, and all the ladies were more attracted to the one who didn't have a beard, or who had the beard. And then they did a study with like 39 beards and one without the beard, and the ladies were more attracted to the guy without the beard. It's a study I think about. I don't know what it means. It means that chicks like maybe
Unique dudes.
yeah, unique, going against the grain kind of dudes, I guess.
So just pay attention
Oh,
to
yeah.
facial hair, and you'll be good to go. Just do whatever everybody else is not doing.
I remember when I cut a mustache in a couple times in my life. That really takes you into a new category of who talks to you. Also, you get one. It's like Chardonnay soccer moms, you know, like the older ones. They're just like, "Oh, hi," and you're like, "Oh, that's mustache." Boom.
Interesting. I've done some weird facial hair things. I kind of had like this shaved once, and kind of had some drapes.
Oh yeah,
Not
the
a
old.
good look. Not a good look for me. No.
Nah.
But I brought back the beard after a year of no beard or more. And I'm keeping it trim, but I like it.
Looks nice.
Thanks, buddy.
I just let these go until they just, I don't know. You know, they just carry so much memory and heartache. And if there's a lot of heartache and strife, you know, sometimes it's good to take that beard off and start a new one.
Yeah, I've definitely done that before. Do you have a ceremony that you perform when you have to shave and start over?
It's weird. It's like I wake up and I just go, fuck, shave it. And then I'll just start shaving it. And usually like somebody walks in and they're like, oh shit. I'm like, it's gotta go. And that's it. That's my ceremony.
So you don't like, it's not premeditated. You don't discuss it with anyone.
No, hell no. Like it's usually, I think 4 or 5 years was one of my longest ones. Probably running around with you guys like maybe 4 year, but usually 2 years I shave it. This is like 2 years. I don't know how long. 2 years.
Nice.
3, 2 years. I don't know.
I've never had a beard that long. Not even.
Yeah, I've shaved it. Yeah, this is like 2 years. Something. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I never really think about it. I just don't like shaving very much, and that's it's not a fashion thing at all. It's just like, oh wow, that's cool. I don't have to shave.
Yeah.
But I don't like it. Like I don't necessarily like. I like kissing without a beard, and like I like. There's things that just kind of suck with a beard, but I don't know. Just leave it.
Yeah. You got to do you, man. You're looking.
Yeah,
good.
but I miss being different characters. So I think now that I'm filming more, like it might be at the end of my beard for a while, so I can, you know, portray different instead of just Vikings and gold miners and like there's a very limited beard. Pirates.
I see, yeah.
Yeah. Crazy Irishman. Yeah.
It's beautiful when I've read the comments of that Hobo's Lament music video that we did in Boston in that dirty alleyway. And you and people.
I think that's where COVID was born.
It might have been, and then it just lingered in our van for a few years. And
yeah, it's actually came petri dished in the Larry's van.
It is the flask, yeah. But it's beautiful when I see people discover that you are the hobo in the video, and they're like, "Willy Tea, awesome!" And you're like, with the pearls. That's where it's from.
Yeah, that's when I've figured out I would just be a nightmare if I'm not filming myself, like because I just have such an instinct to direct like at all fucking times. And I notice my daughter, when I'm filming something, she's just like me and comes in and I just want to slap her, get out of here. Like she has the same instinct, and Wiley does too. It's just like we want to make the vision. So I know that filmmaking is something that is going to be really fun, and it always has been the dream of mine to make. So now that I've learned how to edit and do all that. Like, I'm pretty stoked that
Right.
because during that video, I was like, have we thought about, it's like, dude, we don't want your opinion. You're not making this. Get in the shopping cart.
I don't know, man. I was deranged. I honestly barely recall most of that. It was a whirlwind insanity. It was like a flight from Norway or something overnight.
Yeah.
And then that alleyway, Taco Bell, Cheers.
Yeah.
And then a giant pile of trash that we were literally on top of.
Oh, gross. Yeah, that was gross.
That was so weird, man. That was so weird. There was, for all of those of you who have not seen this video, it's called Hobo's Lament. It's a Larry and His Flask music video, and Willy T was there. And when we got there, they were like, yeah, the guy that was filming it and Sean Flores were like, we found the perfect place to do this thing, man. It's awesome. It's just like, they think that everybody that met us in those years thought that we lived in a fucking cave or something. Like, legitimately, they were like, you'll feel right at home. This is a giant pile of shit in the fucking behind a building where like some homeless people lived for decades and just hoarded shit. And like, it's just like the van, you filthy bastards. Like, get in there and get to it. And then it was literally just I don't know what happened to the people that used to live there, but they obviously lived there for many years. There was thousands of magazines, thousands of beer cans, hundreds of different items of weird stuff that they must have found on the street. And they built their own little house and shed and everything. And it felt like we were intruding.
Yeah, it was.
And we were just waiting for them to come back. But I thought,
well, I think if I recall, the city ran them out, so it was just abandoned.
Yeah, they would have ran us out too if they found us there. And it didn't smell too good, and there was certain things that were built out of plywood that were little rooms that were locked too. Like, nobody had busted the lock off and looked in there, and I don't think we did.
No.
Yeah, that was a time, man.
Yeah.
And then we immediately drove to Canada and got held up at the border by the border guards for 8 hours and missed our first show in Canada.
Oh yeah, I didn't go with you boys that one.
No, I don't know where you went.
I flew. That's when I flew out, right? St. Patty's, was that around?
I can't. It seems like a totally different trip, but it blends together because it's Boston.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember either.
Yeah, but
it was fun time.
Yeah, It was fun despite the location. It was still cool. Because certain people like that video a lot, and I'm like, why?
I'm such a worrywart. Like, I worried so much about, because we have such a homeless problem, and it was like, even that all of us were literally, I don't know, maybe $100 away from being homeless at any point. Like, we were pretty much, the van was a home.
Absolutely.
So maybe it was easier for us to kind of. But yeah, I worry about all kinds of shit like that when it comes to, because people are homeless, and I hope it didn't portray like we were making fun of homeless. That's what I don't think it did.
I don't know. That was not our intention. If it came off that way,
right? Exactly.
Just,
But that's the weird filmmaker in me. Like, dude, I think I was like, there's a tastier way to do this, and
yeah. I think it was entertaining, but yeah, I can see what you're saying there. I kind of had that vibe there for a bit too, but
yeah, my worrying probably brought it in there, but I don't know.
But it's hard to explain to people, because they really, when I list the things that I've done, they say things like, "Oh, what a charmed life."
Yeah.
you know, and I get it. But like on the surface, it's like, yes, I was in a touring band and we toured really hard for about 10 of those 15 years that we were, you know, together as a band. And then I worked on boats in the Caribbean. And those two things together, people think, oh, you're like a
Yeah.
rock star or something. And then, but it's not at all like that. And I think that that's why the Hobo's Lament video just kind of made sense to us. We felt a little bit at home. We actually kind of did, you know? And,
Yeah, exactly. And man, that would be a great video for a song called Charmed Life. And it's just this dirty band, and they're just driving through every town, and people are having barbecues and hanging out, and they don't get to stop at any of that charmed life. You know, they're in the van fighting and tired and pissed off. And it's like, dude, I want to be at your barbecue.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to stay on this lake for a week. Yeah.
Well, you know how people are. They're just like, they want what we have, or they think
the grass is greener.
Yeah. And we're looking out the van window just thinking like, God, I want to get the fuck out of here. Like this van is,
but it's it's not really anything different than you know, like missionaries. It's a spiritual thing to do. It is of a weird calling to be, that becomes, you know, especially when you're younger and you're just like, oh, this is like weird punk rock missionary work.
It certainly felt like that from time to time. And I think you touched on it earlier a little bit about like, you know, people, when you are out on the road and you're kind of like, you don't know who you are, that feeling. And then you have people say, you know, like that song you wrote saved my life.
Right.
And they're honest and they're true about it. And they're really serious. And they don't want to do anything except they want to acknowledge that fact. And they want you to hear that.
Right. Yeah. That's an amazing thing.
And that's
beyond
shit.
Yeah. That's beyond, when you are eating I wish sandwiches, you know, hot sauce and bread, and that just kind of those moments you're like, oh, this is beyond me. Like, this is why I chose this calling. It's not like, this is what it's about. And that's why it is a really beautiful service. And man, I love that people play music and I get to listen to it and hear it, you know.
It's beautiful. And
see it. It's a very, very special way of life. And it is charmed, and it's not an easy goddamn thing. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not a lazy goddamn thing. That's for sure. You know, like,
no,
even though, you know, you kind of, if you don't stay on it, like, you know, I just got bigger by the year just being a glorified truck driver, just, you know, eating fucking road dogs and drinking beer every night. And it's like, oh, dude, you forgot to exercise. You know, like,
that's important.
Yeah. So with abundance of doing what you love, you know, other abundances come, like a big ass belly. Got to be aware of all that.
Yeah.
Just like anything, I reckon.
Yeah. Staying up on that is good for you to recognize those things. But I was also going to mention, like, when you mentioned I wish sandwiches and whatnot, like, people perceived Larry and his Flask in a certain way at a certain time where they thought, called us rock stars for a minute and stuff. And I was literally,
oh, you guys were rock stars, dude.
For many
From
years,
day one.
For many years, the way we traveled was we went to when we were hungry, we went to Walmart and we would buy a can of SpaghettiOs or whatever the fuck was on the shelf for 89 cents and eat it cold out of the can with a spoon, you know, and peanut butter and white bread.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, it was like, somebody came out and they just like dropped all these avocados out of their sleeve. And I was like, damn, did you lift avocados? And I remember having this talk like, boy, you can't lift avocados, man. I understand, but I had a whole karma talk like, yeah, that stuff comes back around.
Yeah, lifting stuff out of the stores. One time, Dal ran into the bus and he's like, go, go, go. And we're like, what? I was half asleep and I woke up to this because the bunks, remember, were like sideways in the vehicle. So when you open your eyes, you're looking at the front of the bus and the front door. And so two guys were very angry and very in our fucking bus. And they're like, just give it back, man. We won't call cops. And he was like playing it cool for a second. Dal's like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And this is before he drank. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And they go, just give it back. We won't call the cops. We know you took it. And it was like some steaks. And he's like, fair enough, fair enough. And he handed the steaks back and kind of like, Eeyore. And they're just like, Jesus. And they left and they didn't call the cops. So we got the hell out of there.
Was it a supermarket or something?
I think it was again like a Walmart. And they had security or something. Yeah. I mean, you know, we were hungry.
Well,
I didn't.
Man, I get it. You know, like seriously, like no shit, man. That's especially when you know you're just where the missionary work comes in is when you're like, dude, we've just traveled 2,000 miles. And all we had was barely enough for just the gasoline. And that's all we made in that time. Is like, fuck. And you guys just always did that. You just kept doing that. And it's, yeah. And I loved being a part of it, man, because it's very humbling and very hard. And it's crazy. And it is, it gives you a whole sense of holy shit, you know, when you see other young kids doing it, you know, like I gave my van to this kid that I think is awesome. And my van is awesome. Like it was my favorite thing on earth, but it's been sitting, I've been flying out and doing, my van was just kind of like, dude, come on, man. You know how I work. I'm a van. I'm a badass van. And so I just gave it to this kid and you know, it's like, wow. Carry on. Like, carry on.
That's amazing, dude. That's awesome.
Well, yeah, you know.
Who is this kid?
His name's Cole Hinkle. He's great. Him and his buddy Amy, they play in Cole Hinkle and the Debauchery. Really, really great. And he's just, they're young kids on fire. Cool. You know, and
awesome.
I'm kind of, although I like I don't miss the danger part of driving these days. Like it's when you're in Kansas and you see a 16-year-old in a hailstorm looking at his phone and you're like, dude, you're going to kill us all one day. Like this is such a dangerous goddamn world to drive in now. I'm like, I'm cool.
Yeah.
I gotta take my chances flying out. And
I mean, statistically, you're better off in the air.
Yeah, and then I mean, the cars today, they get what, 40 miles a gallon. It's just like, okay, I can't go out and not come back home without money. So
yeah,
and even though that's still not the reason I do it, you know, like I wouldn't care, but I do understand the sacrifice has to have something. So, and it works out. It's not like I really even plan it. It just kind of presents itself, and that's cool.
Well, I've always felt like there's definitely a magic about it, and there's definitely a magic about you and the way that you've done things and the way that things happen. and it's in a certain way that winds up being the right, the right thing. And it took me a minute to recognize that with you, but only a minute. And then I was like, holy shit, that's my new brother.
I believe in magic, baby. I believe in magic.
Yeah, I know. It took me a minute to believe in magic.
Yeah,
I had to learn.
It's spectacular. That time when I first met you guys, that was top 3 profound moments of my life.
Me too.
4. My
The
kids
puzzle
being
pieces
born.
all came together. The universal jigsaw puzzle assembled itself before us, and it blew my fucking mind.
Yeah, and I learned through that process of when I was building the tea farm, and like Cole Thomason, and we were all building a stage, and we're just working so hard at it, and then I would just stare at this barn, and I just smoke a joint and stare, and then let manifestation just go out of my head. I became, and when I met you guys, it was like, holy shit. And that was such a bizarre way of meeting you with Ryan Russell. It was Ryan Russell outside the cow track, God rest his soul, stopped by, and he's like, oh, I hear Stockton's having an open mic on Wednesdays, because that's when we had ours. And the next week, I was like, I don't want to do ours. I want to go to Stockton. And that's when me and Cole went to Stockton, and you guys were actually booked, but it was their open mic. So it was kind of like a classic, like Flask moment that I would see many of, like, wow, what do we,
booked at an open mic.
Yeah, exactly. And, but then, man, you guys blew me away. And that was like one of the first, I don't know, there was 8 or 9 of you. There was so many, I think Billy was, there was so many different people what the Flask ended up being, but
yeah, that was
and I just locked into Jeshua, dude, and I was like, the Lord sent me here. That's what I just kept saying, because I didn't have another word for it. I'm just like,
yeah,
well,
it makes sense now.
No, the Spirit sent me here. Yeah. But yeah, and I was just sure, but I'm like, dude, you guys are playing my barn, and you're like, we're from Oregon, we're not gonna be. And I'm just like, it has been written, like in my mind. And then you and Dal get arrested, right? And on that trip.
Yeah, so after we met you, we went south, and we went.
Oh yeah, and I gave Jesse my phone number because he breaks his bass all the time, and I said, "Oh, I know some people with basses." That's it. That was the one information that I needed to lock down my fate for the rest of my life.
Yeah, so then we went south, and we went to Orange County, where our friend lived, and we thought, what could be the harm of playing on the street there in Newport Beach? Just a few songs, busking, and I had a megaphone, which was the problem. And we sang "Beggars Will Ride," and that's when I was singing. And somebody came up behind me and reached over my shoulder and turned off my megaphone, and that really pissed me off. So I just, without thinking, I turned it back on, and he turned it back off, and I turned it back on, and I looked over, and it was a cop. And I was like, we're almost done. It's the finale. Just chill a second. It's just a minute. Like, whilst singing and drumming. And there was maybe 20 people watching, maybe 30 at the most. But back then, nobody had the sweet cameras on their phones.
Oh, right.
There might have been some footage of it from some old flip phone or something. But at that point, he did walk back to his squad car for a second. And then shortly after, all hell broke loose. He came back up after we were done, and he said, "Give me your ID." And I said, "Am I under arrest?" And he said, "You will be if you don't give me the ID." And I said, "Well, I know my rights, blah, 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 blah. And he flipped me around and cuffed me and threw me on the ground. At which point, everybody was watching. And I started yelling, like, somebody film this because shit's about to go down. Film this now. Get your cameras out. Film this. Like, call the cops on the cops. And then Dal walked up to the cop and he tripped over the curb. And he kind of landed on one. So they grabbed him and they threw him on the ground and they beat the living shit out of him. And they took and Jesse walked up because it's always us three. It's like one of us sets it off and the other two are like, don't fuck with my brother. And then
time to roll. Yeah.
So they threw us in the squad car, Jesse and I, and they beat the shit out of Dal.
Oh God.
Like really badly. They ground his face into the asphalt. He had like, this whole side of his face was just black and blue. And I looked over and they are all the cops are hyped up. They're like,
oh yeah.
And I'm like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. And I look over and there's a woman cop kneeled on the back of Dal, beating the sides of his head and his ribs over and over and over again.
Motherfuckers.
And so they took Dal and Jesse to jail for that night. And
did you talk your way out of it or what?
So the cop says, like you didn't actually do anything. Playing music on the street is okay, but having an amplified anything is illegal. And I said, well, I didn't know that. We're not from here. I'm sorry.
And it was just a megaphone.
Time? Yeah, what time is it right now?
Oh, do we run?
Oh, shit. I got to go.
We're going to... Oh, damn.
Damn it. We got to do this again. Can you...
Well, we got to... Just for the viewers, so that was like... I think it was January 19th was the first T-Farm show. And so when they got arrested, they had to go all the way back to Oregon. And then Jesse called me because they had to come back down, which they never would have been going back down. And that's when he said, well, we're looking for a show January 19th. And I told you the Lord said you were coming to play. Boom. And then that set off the entire journey.
And then
love you guys.
The other arrest right before we made it to you too.
Oh yeah. So is this a part one?
This is part one, Willy T and Jamin Marshall.
All right. Adios, friends.
Adios, man. Have a good one.
You too.